Well, here I am again. And here's the lovely Gabe. I said I wasn't going to go live again. I was done for the day. But then you went and ruined it, Gabe.
I know. I couldn't help
And
myself.
you just couldn't help yourself. You're like, Jeff doesn't want to do any more lives today? Well, screw that guy. We're going to talk about this. But this is big news because this is
This
over
is big
20 years in
news.
the making.
Yep.
But before we get too deep into it, let's say hello to a few people.
Okay.
We have One Love 51,000. Hello. We've got Pause for Andrea. Thank you for your comments about my stream yesterday. I had a really good conversation with Jen from London. If you haven't checked it out, make sure to check it out. And better yet, stop by the London market and go say hello. Because
I'm thinking of doing that.
Yeah, you're going to make a trip to London? Nice.
Yeah, I'm always there.
We got Haggis Basher. Sandra, good to see you. Enjoy the subway. Christina, we got all the Ontario folks in here.
Woohoo!
Go Ontario. Ariel, hello. Pippi Longstocking, hello. And D Savage. Oh, and I guess we should be polite Canadians and say happy 4th of July to all the Americans out there. Enjoy your independence. Enjoy not being in a cult.
That's right.
Let's say hello, Sharon. We'll get to it in a sec here. Hi, Sharon. How many lives can I do in one day? Don't challenge me.
A lot.
Yeah. Hello to everybody else. Hello to everybody in the replay crew. If you're not watching it on Gabe's channel, we are streaming to her channel as well. So make sure you pop over there and at least give her a like and a subscribe.
Thank you.
For anyone who doesn't know Gabe and our relationship, we were both on staff together. Gabe was my ethics officer and very good friend. You were very kind to me despite being so strict with me.
Mm-hmm.
And now you and I are even closer than ever. And I think although we spent a bit of time with a little bit of trauma together, I think it's made us closer. What do you think?
I think so. I think we have a very unique relationship. You're kind of like my little brother.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. That's how I think of you. And we talk every day.
Pretty much, yeah. And I'll take that. I will be your little brother.
Yeah. We talk every day and you've been a wonderful support.
Well, I appreciate it, as of you.
Thank you.
So, before we both start crying, because my tissues are over there, and
mushy stuff.
I can't cry again online. It's off. We're going to talk about something that's been in the making for 20 years, and I'm going to have you completely tell the story because you're the one that came out with this information, and I just don't know how dumb Scientologists are. Somebody didn't get the memo, but please, Gabe, tell us what happened today.
Okay, so my phone rang and I saw it was a 604 number, and that's a BC number. So anyways, a lot of times I'll get like wrong numbers or stuff like that. So I just ignored it, and then I went to listen to the message. And this guy, his name is Perry Niehaus. And Niehaus. He was he is a Scientologist, and I knew him as an ethics officer. We spent a lot of quality time, and I and he was indoctrinated into Scientology ethics. When I met him, he was probably middle-aged and very new to Scientology, so he didn't know anything about it. And he was leading what Scientology would call a very unethical life. So being the ethics officer, I had to actually put his ethics in, which took a long time. But anyways, he's a very nice man. He's a businessman. And he was the one that left a message, and he said, I should probably bring up the message, but I won't. But he just left a message saying to call him back. So I did. And
Now, first of all, he's on what's called the OT committee,
I
right?
didn't know this though.
So he's
It was weird. It
okay.
was a
You don't
weird
know?
call. No, I didn't know at the time. Like when he called,
Oh, okay.
when he left a message, there was no detail. So then I call him and we start talking, and he actually called me by mistake. He was supposed to be calling another Gabrielle who had just left the Sea Org and had
Mm.
relocated in Vancouver. I'm dying to know who this is, of course. So,
And of
anyways,
course,
I
it's
said,
great that someone's left the Sea Org.
yeah, yeah, but they're obviously getting, dragged in on this thing. So he tells me there's a humanitarian ideal org event or a dinner for humanitarians, and those are people who have paid, I believe it's $100,000 or more.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are a few in Vancouver, maybe a handful or a dozen, I don't know. And yeah, see, I knew my channel wasn't streaming. Oh well, whatever.
It says it is.
Okay.
Weird.
We have conflicting information. But anyways, so
Yeah.
we just get chatting, and he's like, "Oh, I haven't seen you around." And I'm like, "No, I moved out of BC. I'm in Ontario now." And what I said, "Oh, so are you still in Surrey?" He said, "Oh no, my business is still there. I'm still in Abbotsford." And I said, "So why are you calling?" And that's when he told me about the dinner. And I said, "So
Mm.
what's it all about?" He says, "Well, we have our building." And I'm like, "Oh, that isn't that exciting news." And he says, "Yeah, it's in it's in New Westminster. It's the Spencer Building." And he said something about it's 55,000 square feet.
It's
So
not.
that's pretty big. The current org is, I think, 30 or no, 15. I think it's
Okay.
15,000.
Well, let's show the current org. I have
Yeah.
that we can show both of them. I have them both loaded up. So,
Okay.
according to assessment, the Spencer building is 32,000 some odd square feet.
Okay.
This is their current org in all its glory.
Mm.
And then that's kind of the size of it. So,
Oh, there's my old
really
office.
3 floors and everything. Oh, that's your office right there.
Yep. The one with
Right
the
there.
busted out window.
The dank ass office that you had to sit in. And then so this is the Spencer building.
Yeah.
This was oddly enough, it's 1907, I think it was built in.
Oh,
Why don't they
really?
buy a newer building?
They're all about the
I guess
heritage
Scientology
site.
likes the whole heritage thing, right? And New Westminster is huge for heritage. But they can't fill up their current org at 15,000 square feet. Why do they need a 32,000 or more thousand square foot building? Your guess is as good as mine. And then
And
it's
yeah.
massive. Look at how big it is.
It's huge. Oh, something he said that he was just thrilled about is that the
Yeah.
parking in the back has a direct access to the back of the building, so you can enter through the back. He was
Oh, yeah. So
tickled about that.
maybe. Oh,
That
I see.
ramp,
So like
maybe?
this. Whoops, I am fucking this up hard. Yeah. Oh, there goes
What
Raz
was
barking.
Oh,
Um,
no.
so he's fine. He just hears a
Does
sound
he
and he just goes
swore?
nuts.
He
Sorry?
doesn't like it when you swear.
That usually makes him scared because I think his previous owner yelled at him.
Oh,
But
poor guy.
no, so this ramp here, there's
Mhm.
parking all along here, and I think that's what he's talking about,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, he said
Or
there
there
was
might be
direct
parking down
access
here
to the back of the building.
to
So
avoid
here's
protesters, perhaps.
maybe you guys can stand along the side there and in the front. So the ironic thing is, and I'll have to give my friend a call. She actually works in the salon right across the street. She's gonna freak
Okay.
out. I can't wait to tell her.
We can use her place as base camp for all
Yeah,
protests.
yeah. She also
Um,
she also lives there too, so I'm sure she'll have. And she's a bit of a firecracker, so I'm sure she will raise some hell.
yeah. And just for everyone's reference too, this building here, they tried to buy around 2019 when the whole virus was happening. And sorry, 2020, I think. And they got bought out by this company instead, this House of Comedy instead, which I think is pretty hilarious. They just
Yeah.
can't catch a break, these guys.
Yeah, New West is known for its heritage buildings, and my guess is that's why, because for some reason they like this heritage stuff, and they make a big deal out of these empty heritage. I think they might even get some sort of break when they restore heritage buildings. Yes, it's in New
Yeah,
Westminster.
yeah. So this is in New Westminster, and 100% they will get some sort of
Like
a
a
tax
grant,
break.
maybe
Yeah,
even a
yeah.
heritage
It's
grant
a
or
thing.
something like that.
Yep.
Anyways, okay,
And
so let me
just
finish my oh, sorry.
interestingly, sorry, just on saving money aspect, um, in Vancouver, they have a special type of tax exemption on their property,
Right,
which, as far as I know, nobody else has. They got this like in the 70s or 80s when they moved in, or arranged it all, and they benefited from that all this time. And so they're most likely going to have to try and finagle that with the city council in New Westminster as well, because there's no way that they make enough money to pay the property taxes on this type of stuff each month or whatever quarter yearly that they have to pay it.
right.
Like it's got to be huge, and they're not a
Yeah,
business.
yeah. A
So carry
in
on with your
all
story.
honesty, I was trying to remember when you had first brought that up. I was trying to remember when I was on, it's called advisory council, and we were in charge of paying all the bills and doing the budget for the week for the org and stuff like that. I do not recall seeing a property tax bill, and I might have just blanked out on it, because there was always other huge bills that were, you know, what was going into, what do they call it? Not bankruptcy. They were always late, always late. And so many times they were being threatened to be cut off with hydro or something like that. It was pathetic.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Perry's telling me about this place, and and this dinner, and then we sort of start to chit chat, and he how does it come up? Oh, he says something about, oh yeah, and you're Anita's sister. I said, yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, you were my ethics officer. I said, yes, I was. This is, God, we're talking maybe 12, 13 years ago, right? So anyways, and then the strange thing is, I said to him, I said, my sister died, right? He says, yes, I know. Yeah, it was a shock for all of us. And he said, oh, and then he said, did you fly out for the funeral? I'm like, that's like a really strange, I don't know what, maybe it's just me, but it just struck me. Usually when somebody hears about um your sister, somebody's death, somebody close to you has died, they say, oh, condolences, or I'm sorry for your loss. He said nothing like that. And
Yeah.
it just sort of struck me as like, it just dawned on me as they're so emotionless. It's just like it's actually like in normal everyday life, people would say, I'm sorry for your loss. And he doesn't
Yeah.
say anything other than it was a shock. And did you fly out for her funeral? Like, it's just another sort of, you know, indication that these guys are so freaking brainwashed and so like emotionless. Anyways, it was just like this sort of side note. Aside from hearing about this building, it just was like I told Chuck, I said, "Isn't that kind of strange?" It's like
It's
I don't.
really, really fucking strange.
I thought it was me at first, right? And it was just
Ariel
like,
says they are hollow
yeah,
inside. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
The
It was
emotions
just,
aren't there.
yeah, and he hasn't even. I mean, he got in when he was like middle aged. So, it doesn't matter how old you are, the indoctrination just it like sinks in and it sticks.
Yeah, totally.
Anyways, it was kind of gross. And then he was all pretty thrilled about, this new building and how big it was and all this other BS. And the fact that he didn't know that I was declared just really goes to show how they keep everything very hush hush. Because honestly, to have your ethics officer, actually, I was the HAS, the Hubbard Area Secretary. I was above HCO. Um, that's a big deal to have somebody like leave from that position, because it's
Yeah.
you're the one that puts in the ethics and the justice and stuff like that. So it's, yeah, like, I mean, if I were in and I found out that an ethics officer has blue, I'd be like, ooh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Anyways,
No, it just means that you're out ethics
yeah,
if you've left, right?
yeah,
But we won't get
but he
into your
didn't
whole
know.
story.
Yeah, right.
No, I know, and it's really strange to me that someone on the OT committee wouldn't know, but also just further confirms that they're not doing declares anymore, right?
Yeah,
Like they're not
they won't
public.
yeah, it's not
Nothing's
public.
public anymore. Yeah,
Nope.
because honestly, it would be a pretty pretty devastating thing for people's emotions and um, like if they were constantly being told, "Oh shit, this person is gone. This person's suppressive. This person's suppressive. Oh darn." Because we used to get them from different orgs too,
Oh my
right? It
God.
wouldn't just be local. So
No,
we'd get
oh,
them, it'd be
everywhere.
sent to, yeah, every single org so everyone knows. Can
Yeah.
you imagine it would just be like, oh, every single day another 10, 15 declares going up, maybe more per org.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
be
It
insane.
was it was a really bizarre thing. I would have to post them. They would all come to me to post. That was part of my job. And
Yeah.
I would be there regularly, like they're like I put one on top of the other on the notice board, right? Just
Yeah.
sort of nail one to the other. And I was like taking hunks, just like piles off. And there's this thing on the PTSSP course where he talks about it's suppressives take up 2% of the population, right? And I'm looking at all these declares and I'm going, you know what? This is more than, and I'm really bad at math. And this is more than 2%. This is more than 2% of just Scientology, of
Yeah.
Scientologists. It's crazy. So that was
It's
something
insane.
that always stuck in my head. It's like there's a lot of people being declared. And there was a period of time where there was a lot coming out, especially from LA. So they must have been
Mm,
on a real major witch hunt. I think that was around the time where they were doing the truth rundown and stuff like that, where they were just nailing people to the wall. So
yeah.
yeah, that would kind of
So
explain it. I never got any international ones. I just mostly remember like mostly LA flag and stuff like that.
yeah, the major orgs. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So let's go a little bit further into detail about this org. Now,
Okay.
what did Perry say about timeline? Because we have Discord here who's asking the
Mhm.
question, any idea when they're moving?
He said they're expected to be in there within 2 years
Ah,
with
so
renovations done and everything.
and he did confirm that they have all the money and it's been Like it's not that they're
Oh, he said that.
fundraising anymore.
Nope.
Interesting.
Which I don't know
It's
then
been
why are they having this humanitarian dinner?
Yeah, I
Of
mean,
course
obviously
they're
they need
renting.
money for something.
Yeah,
Um,
because I asked, I
so
said, well,
the
there's the renovations as well. He says, oh, no, no, no. He said, we have the money for that.
interesting thing about that, Gabriel, about
Mm-hmm.
time-wise, is
Yeah.
so I was like, well, let's find out if this is all very true, maybe get some confirmation. And so I called up the office, the people who work in that building currently. And there's a couple big ones. There's actually a government offices in there, as well as it's a counseling service, like psychological counseling service, but it's the number that you call is like a call service. So it's not really like
Yeah.
directly connected, but I was speaking to a very nice lady named Peggy, and she informed me. I said, "Hey, do you know that this building is or is about to be sold?" And she said, "Nope, had no idea." I was like, "Oh, interesting. Well, just so you know, this is the case, according to my source, and it's the time frame is within 2 years. They want to be sold, renovated, and in there." And she was
Mm.
like, "Oh, so they're just going to kick everyone out?" I said, "Well, that's what Scientologists do, because they
Mm-hmm.
don't care. Like they will just go in there. They'll say you have 30 days or whatever, and get out and start renovating."
Mm-hmm.
They did that in when the CLO took over a building in, was it Guelph, where there was like some
Yeah.
sort of shelter or something that helped people. They just kicked them out. Um,
Well, it's
they don't.
psych-based, Jeff, so they don't give a
Yeah.
shit.
Oh, they're going to kick these counselors out really quick then.
Yeah, they actually
So
think they're doing them a favor.
yeah. So I said, "Hey, this is the case, and have you heard of Scientology?" And so had this conversation with her about it, and she had watched Leah Remini's show, so she didn't know a lot about like details, but she's like, "And I just think it's unbelievable." Speaking to the abuses, I'm like, "Well, I went through a lot of it, and yeah, I still think it's unbelievable. I still can't believe that happens."
Yeah.
So she goes, "Well, the property, it's not us that owns it, it's the property manager. And so I'm going to reach out to my boss, who's then going to reach out to the property manager and find out and get some information for you." So I've got Peggy on the case. Um, I've also reached out to zoning committee, because an important thing that we haven't mentioned yet is that building is not zoned as a place of worship. It's zoned
Right.
as commercial. And
Right.
so they have to get that approved before they can actually buy the building, which is
Yeah,
why I
which
think
is
it's
what they're
not
trying to
sold
do.
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, I'm going to reach out to the city council to make sure that they know what's going on. And I also reached out to the property manager directly. I just said, "Hey, are you selling this building? And is it sold yet? Is there a deal? Is there something going on?" Whether they'll answer me or not, I don't know. But if they do, I will definitely report on it.
Right.
Um,
I mean, if
and
they
then
if they do sell that building, or if the property manager, like the property manager is going to be out of a job, he's going to lose a property. So it'll be
yeah,
curious to see if they know.
they own a lot of properties, though. It seems weird
Yeah.
to me. Like
Yeah.
they must have a contact already, because they wouldn't be announcing this if there wasn't something going on already,
Yeah.
right? Like they're not that dumb, or are they?
Well, when you finish what you're saying, remind me to tell you about the whole CSW process.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
And then so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be printing out a information a packlet. Let's do packlet.
Packlet.
That's a word,
Yeah.
right? A packlet, a small packet.
You mean a dead
I'm going to be
agent pack?
printing out
Yeah.
a dead agent package, exactly. A black propaganda package.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm going to be spreading it around to every single business in that neighborhood, and making sure they know who is moving into their neighborhood. I'm going to send it to the city council members,
Yeah.
the mayor, everything, so they know,
Okay.
because they've been trying to get into New West for quite a while,
Yes.
like at least 17 to 20 years. They've been trying to do
Yeah.
this. So
And I'm sure
We
the
need to stop.
businesses around there will be really pissed off. It's
Absolutely. I mean,
struggling down there.
who wouldn't
That
be?
area has been struggling since COVID. So I'm sure they're not going
Yeah,
to be happy that some dumb, stupid cult is moving into their neighborhood.
exactly. And it's a I'm going to say church that doesn't that pretends to, but doesn't actually help anybody in need.
Mhm.
They only help the able, and the able are those with money in their definition. So
Mhm.
yeah. So let's go over the whole CSW process because that's I find it interesting that it's this far beyond that they're announcing.
Yeah. So I'll tell you one thing. They wouldn't announce anything until that CSW process has been completed.
Yes, which
So
means
some,
approved by
yeah,
David Miscavige, right?
exactly,
That's
exactly.
like the ultimate.
So the CSW has to, there's a lot of, there's a checklist, right? And it has to meet a lot of requirements. And there has been a lot of CSW sent up from Vancouver. I know that for a fact.
Mhm.
None, to my understanding, have actually been approved.
Mm.
So, I mean, we're talking like my timeline is like 10 years ago. So if they're saying that this is it and they have the building, because I've not heard, Perry told me that the money is there. It's not a money issue. All they have to do is basically get the conditions off. So whatever that means, whatever conditions are on the whole purchase.
Yeah,
And one of them is the zoning.
right.
So I
And that's
mean,
a big one.
and I don't think that kind of stuff doesn't go through very quickly, especially in BC. That shit is slow as molasses.
Yeah. I honestly have no idea. I mean, it could
Yeah,
be jurisdiction dependent too.
yeah.
Because it's a city thing. It's not a provincial thing, right?
Exactly, but and I mean, cities are always overwhelmed. Like just trying to get like building permits and stuff like that is really hard to do. It's one of the biggest reasons why they're saying housing development is so slow because it takes so long to get permits and stuff like that. So,
Well,
unless they
Gabe,
somehow find a fast track it.
well, that's the thing is we know that Scientologists will be so annoying that they will just push it through and they'll get it done. They will
Mm,
be
that's
like
right.
they'll just be
Intention.
annoying. They'll be on their case all the time. I
Yep.
call it being
Tone 40.
annoying. The
No,
squeaky wheel
Jeff.
gets the grease.
Jeff. Jeff, it's
So,
tone 40.
oh, sorry, yeah,
It's
tone 40.
it's intention. Come on,
Exactly.
get it right.
Get it straight.
That's right.
Um,
Pure
yeah,
intention.
yeah. And if you don't get it right, if your intention doesn't go through, your tone 40 is not there. Makes
Yeah.
total sense.
I see a comment there. There was like I was telling you, there was a fire there that really affected that little area. So
Yeah,
it's hurting.
yeah.
Yeah.
That is definitely true. Um, and oh, here's an interesting one. New
Oh,
West
I saw
is
that.
a very strict for zoning changes that don't match the area that building is in.
Hmm.
Interesting. I mean, this
Yeah.
is this is all just secondhand information from a Scientologist who is being told something. I was
Yeah.
told by Seattle org that they had purchased a building, but it wasn't that building. It was a different building.
Yeah.
And who knows? They don't communicate oddly enough for the only people who have communication figured out, they don't communicate very
Yeah.
well.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing. As a staff member, you would find out this stuff before the public would. This
Right.
Perry guy, he's I mean, unless he's like the OT committee event in charge. So all he does is help. He's in charge of putting these events together.
Right.
So he's sort of on the periphery of need to know. So who knows, they always bullshit their members to keep them going. And yeah, we got this building, let's get some more people. We want to buy like special chairs or whatever the hell that they come up with, some stupid gimmick, right? So,
Yeah.
he may be off his freaking rocker for all we know. But I mean, to have that much detail, to say that the money is there, the money is in, and they're just waiting for city approval and not Scientology approval, that's major. So that's why I
Yeah.
think there is some motion in the ocean kind of thing.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. If anybody happens to be in that area and sees some weird activity, or if anyone knows someone on zoning committees or city council in New Westminster, reach out, maybe ask,
Yeah.
Um, it's interesting to me that, and maybe it's just because there's more people in Vancouver, that there's orgs that have buildings in Canada purchased, like Winnipeg,
Mhm.
that are
Mhm.
sitting empty for 15 plus years. Yet they're
Yeah.
focusing on Vancouver, who doesn't even have an org yet,
Mhm.
right? It's kind of
Mhm.
weird.
Yeah.
So, but I
Uh,
guess Vancouver
um
has more money.
Yeah, and Vancouver, Toronto, they're kind of main. They're kind of more like the more important orgs, or I don't think important's the right word. They're more like prominent. I mean, Vancouver is, it's a very cool city. It's the West Coast. Like when you think of Canada, you think and West Coast, it's Vancouver, right? And then you think of
Yeah.
Toronto on the East Coast. That's kind of how it goes. But I know when Quebec, when the push was on for Quebec, they already had the Montreal org purchased, but
Mm,
everybody shifted focus, including the public in Montreal. All the focus, fundraising, everything was shifted to Quebec.
yeah.
So, I mean, I even donated to the Quebec org. I think I donated like $600 because there was such a huge, massive push to get that org done, right? So
What a
that's
waste of money.
probably all the funds. That's where all the fun. And then I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of money that they try and squeeze out of a dead horse.
Yeah. A
It's
very dead
horrible.
horse for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so over. We didn't really
Ooh,
go
you
too deep into
go.
the CSW process, but
I
well,
don't
I'm
have
on
a
I'm on
whole lot of
Wi-Fi. So
other info on it, but all I know is when it is approved, but it's approved by Miscavige, and there's a lot to it. It takes quite some time, and it's very,
and
very specific.
what kind of information do they have in this? Like, I mean, obviously, like
They
the building data and
Yeah, lots of building data, what's around it, all that information, how big the building is, um, demographics. Like there's a lot of research that they ask that to for it to go into, and
right.
then it's
Yeah.
put into a CSW format. So you know it's intense. It's not like can we buy this building, sir? It's not one of those. It's like they have to. I believe there's even surveys involved that have to be done. Gosh, I wish we could have somebody who's involved in that. It would be very interesting. It's
Yeah.
like minutia. It's the stupidest things that you have to have um, in order to get something approved. It's just more ridiculousness.
And it's
Seriously.
all weird stuff too. I think they
Yeah,
have to make sure that there aren't a lot of people who aren't anti-Scientology in the area too. So,
maybe
interestingly, this new org of theirs that they have potentially is theirs is
the Spencer
kitty
Building.
corner. Yeah, the
Hmm.
Spencer Building is kitty corner to the police station.
Perfect.
So fast response time if we ever go there protest. If, when, and
When?
actually, it's pretty easy for me to get to New Westminster
Oh,
outside this
yeah.
org.
Oh,
Much
yeah.
easier than going all the way downtown Vancouver. So
Mhm.
one day, um, let's answer a few questions here.
Oh, sure.
Pause for Andrea. Question: where do the whales think their money is going?
Uh, I don't know.
To
To the
this,
to the to the to the building, to
yep.
some fund in the sky. I
Yeah,
tell you,
exactly.
it's like you can give them all the money in the world, but if you want to, like, it's the building fund that this money is supposedly going to, right? So it goes up
Yeah,
to the Continental Liaison Office, and then it goes up to international management, wherever the building thing, what is it called? Landlord office,
landlord
that's it.
office. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dave
So,
Chase.
yeah.
He's the
Oh my
landlord
god.
for
Yeah,
Canada.
he was.
Yeah,
There's a different one. He was such a nice guy.
is there?
But when there's the money is also supposed to be used for, like, if they want big events, like when we had, um, what's her name? Travolta's wife. She came out, when she was still
Kelly
alive.
Preston.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She came out and she did a vent. There was a few other bigwigs that came out. Nancy Cartwright was supposed to show up too, but she bailed. So they're supposed that money is also supposed to be used to put on these events, but it never turns out that way. You know what happens? It gets sucked out of the org funds. So many times the OT committee would come to the org and ask for money for these events. It's so crazy. Anyways, that's a whole other thing. It just scam after, it's like,
yeah.
smoke and mirrors all the time. It always pissed me off. It's like, well, why can't you get the money? I remember asking Hillary Rockle, who was the OT committee chair. I asked her, I said, well, why don't you just, CSW, ask for the money for these events? It's like, oh, well, we've tried that. And they haven't approved it. It's like, that's like our money. Yeah, it's like my money that I gave for it, but once it goes, it's just like, I don't know where it is. I don't know where it goes. It goes into Davy's slush fund. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy. All right.
Anyway.
We got going to say hello to Mr. Francoeur. Hello.
Ah,
Welcome. Nice to see you, sir. You do have a few good comments, and we're just going to bang through four of his right away.
okay. Yeah.
He says, I think there is way more active Scientologists than we suspect living under the radar.
Yeah.
I
They
I
wouldn't
would
be
say there's
active.
more. I think there's more, well, people who call themselves Scientologists. I
Mhm.
think there's more that are doubting and looking online than we think,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
I mean, you remember doing call-in, right? There were so many people that were basically on the fringes. They
Yeah.
they don't have the money to go up the bridge. They don't have the money to donate to the Ideal Org. They'll come to an event where there's free food,
Yeah.
right?
That's
Right.
why
And
they
they call
always offer free food.
right. And that's why they're called, fringers. And they're not really under the radar. They're just bad Scientologists. That's all.
They're in doubt.
Yeah.
All right. Richard says, yes, the money we collected from Montreal
Told
went for
you.
the Quebec org. That's brutal. That would not make me
Wouldn't that
happy.
piss you off?
Yeah. And then he says also Montreal public were upset
Yep.
because Quebec never took off and is always empty.
Yep.
Crazy. And then
After
finally,
all that
Montreal.
money. Hmm.
Yeah. And Montreal's new org been sitting empty for 20 years. I don't think
That's the problem.
Vancouver is close to opening their new building. Yeah.
No.
If it opens, I would be very, very surprised.
Yeah,
I don't know about
I'm
you.
sure all the attention is going to be put if they have the building and everything is a go, there's going to be a tremendous amount of pressure.
Yeah, and maybe they'll get people from other areas and start moving them around. So I think the problem with that is if they're pulling people from different areas of Canada, that's a very small pool. But it's difficult to pull people from the States and have them work in Canada. It's probably more difficult than going down south than it is going up north. Could be wrong about
Yeah,
that,
there's
but
yeah, there's visa issues and stuff like that. But Jeff, I mean, when the Quebec org was open and the same with Cambridge, they cannibalized every org. It was pretty much an order. I bet you, give us one of your executives.
hmm,
I bet because look at who went from Vancouver. There was a lot of people from Vancouver.
yeah, and
Well, I
public
shouldn't say
too.
a lot. 4 or 5 maybe, and even
Yeah,
some people that weren't even qualified for staff. Because I would there were people that I would recruit and then find out that they were not qualified.
yeah.
So they hired unqualified. They broke all the rules. And
Numbers are
they hired
numbers.
yeah,
It's just another body, right? And it's just for the
yeah,
opening, it's just for the start. Like I went to the Cambridge org, so I saw the staff that were there. I
yeah,
saw the no public that were there. And it's dead. They have 7 or 8 people on course during the day. That's
yeah,
insane for an ideal org. Absolutely nutty.
yeah. It's a ghost town.
Um, yeah, exactly. All right, we got another comment, a question actually. Just a northern girl. Question. Hi from Ottawa, Jeff and Gabe. How far is the new org from the old one? And is there more foot traffic at the new org? It's about a 25-minute, 30-minute drive, depending on which way you go. Very easily accessible by SkyTrain, which is the public transit system. And there is more more foot traffic. However,
Yeah.
to be fair, the area is pretty rough, just like in downtown Vancouver. And
Oh
so
no,
the
downtown
people who are
Vancouver is
walking
bad.
by, I know it is
Yeah.
bad, but I've been in this area of New West, and it is
Have
pretty
you?
bad too as far as poverty and so forth. And maybe it's a slight step up from poverty and
Yeah.
drug use and so forth, which is not what Scientology wants. So I just find it strange that
Yeah,
they're
but
going
it's
to these
probably
kind of.
better than what they have now. Like,
It
look what
will be
they have.
better.
It's like
Yes, it will be
there's
better.
an epidemic. There's a drug epidemic like 2 blocks down from where they
Yeah.
are.
What was
It's
it? Snoop Dogg and Warren G were here like a week ago, and they were walking downtown, like a couple blocks from the org, because
oh
that's
my
where they were
god.
playing. And they said, this place is worse than some other area they've been in. And like they were commenting on
Yeah.
how bad it is as far as the drug use and the poverty and so forth.
Yeah.
Warren G and Snoop Dogg think it's rough, and they grew up in
Mhm.
like Compton.
Right.
You
In
know,
LA.
like yeah. So that should tell you something. And I wanted to actually make a comment on that. When I heard that, I was like, well, that just goes to show you what a small sphere of influence and help the Church of Scientology has. They've
Yeah.
been in that area since the 70s, late 60s. Is that right?
70s,
Um,
70s. No, no,
early
sorry.
70s, maybe?
80s.
No, it
No,
was 60s.
80s. No, in
Oh,
that
but no,
building.
but that building, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Same general area. But yes, that
Yeah.
building since the 80s, and it's only gone downhill
Yeah.
and like significantly,
They've
you
had
know.
no positive effect in that
It's
area.
like,
That I remember that area when I was a kid, and that's
mm,
a while ago. And I used to run down those streets carefree. It was safe, and it's just a cesspool now. I would not walk down there if my life depended on it.
for me, maybe it's different because it's,
It's
I'm a
sad.
I'm a guy and whatever, but I don't feel unsafe around there, but I do feel uncomfortable because I wish I could help.
It's
But
very
there's
sad, yeah.
really not much you can do, right?
Yeah, there's no help
Hope
for
that
those
answers your
people
question.
whatsoever. Like, I
No,
remember
like,
walking down well, like, when I trained in LA and, like, where the celebrity center was, I was actually getting some auditing there, and I was told never to walk alone, but I didn't listen, and I would walk alone. And I didn't feel, maybe it was just my naivety, but I didn't feel unsafe. But there was times when I came out of the Vancouver org, and this is, we're talking what, 13, 12-ish years ago, and I would be like, I'd be concerned.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Um, Love Maddie is concerned. Am I losing my voice? Does it sound like I'm losing my voice? My throat's a little dry. I have talked a lot today. Um, I am drinking water, but it's not helping. I'm sorry, but we won't be on for much longer anyway. So then I'm gonna not go live again today. Promise you that.
Unless I get another call.
No, I'm gonna mute my phone. All right, all right.
Okay.
Discord has some information about this building. Um,
Oh,
Apparently, they know the
very
building.
old.
It is very old. It's like I said, I think it was 1907, and it has an old vintage elevator in it, the kinds with the old manual cage doors. That's exciting.
So there are codes for these elevators, and either you upgrade them or they don't get used. So, and it's
Interesting.
very expensive to refurbish those elevators.
I bet you anything that Scientology money will cover it. Because what do they care? They'll just
Maybe
ask for
they'll get an
more.
IAS grant.
That would be interesting,
Huh?
and we'll never find out.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Um, all right, cool. Cubana Chica
Hmm.
says, talking about Perry Niehaus. Will he
Uh-huh.
be sec checked when they find out that he broke bread with you? Like you guys are like sitting down at the table having dinner together, making you an offer you can't refuse.
Well, I do, I'm hoping he'll text me back and let me know where the event's going to be. I kind of doubt it
Hey, do you
though.
think Andy is watching this live?
Maybe. Hi,
Uh,
Andy. Miss
Hi,
you.
Andy. If you're watching this, hey, buddy. I should come say hi to you again soon.
It's
Maybe
been
this
so
coming
long.
Sunday. It's been
Miss
so
you.
long. Miss you. And actually, you're my only terminal, Andy. So you need
That's
to
right.
talk to me. Because when I
Well, you
went
haven't been
to,
declared, dude.
okay, but when I went to the CLO and I
Yeah.
knocked on the door, and this is
Yeah.
not video I've released yet either. I should put it together, really. I spoke with
Come on.
someone and I said that I'm here to see the person who's in charge of it, the justice chief, and I'm
Yeah.
supposed to send in something through my has, which is Andy, but he won't talk to me, and so I can't. So effectively, the door is closed for me.
They
Excuse
don't
me while
even
I cry
follow
myself to
their own
sleep.
frickin' policy, Jeff. It's just
I
like,
know,
really?
I know. Yeah. But to the answer this question,
Oh,
no, he
no.
probably will not be sec checked. He might get a condition or something, or he might get reprimanded, but he won't be sec checked.
Yeah, and
I
maybe
doubt.
they'll show him my declare. Or Andy will just say,
But
"Hey, look, Perry, don't call her. She's declared."
Perry knows that I'm declared, or at least knows that I'm suppressive because I ran into him outside one of my protests. And the funny
Oh,
thing is,
really?
he didn't even really know who I was because we didn't really have a
Oh,
lot of
no.
interaction.
Right.
But I recognized him, so I said hi.
Yeah. He dropped a lot of money. One of the reasons why I was seeing him in ethics was because he dropped a whole bunch of money. I think it might have been around 30 grand for a bunch of auditing. and there
Oh,
was
really?
no way they were going to take him in session with his lifestyle. So
I'm sorry.
disgusting.
His lifestyle?
His lifestyle. The type of
Oh my,
lifestyle he had, which was considered unethical.
interesting. We'll have
Mhm.
to chat after. I don't want to completely out the guy, whatever's going on there, but
Oh
it's
God.
if you're not saying it on live right now,
Yeah.
it's kinky.
Yeah,
All
people
right.
do strange things.
Yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, it's like
Holy
whatever. It's none of my
cannoli.
business. Sorry.
Yeah. Isn't it possibly all BS to keep the people going? What do you think about that?
I think there's some BS. There's the carrot is always dangled in front of the public to
Right.
keep them going. Yes. But there has to be some bits of truth here and there.
Sure. Yep. But I don't think that the building itself, that announcement part, is BS.
No, I don't think so either.
It would be unusual. And interestingly, and just like a fun fact, and why I know that this other building, the House of Comedy one that got kind of snagged from underneath them, is Evie Iverson, who is another OT committee person,
Mm.
super annoying, so bubbly all the time. And she actually invited people to this building for an event because
Oh,
it wasn't occupied when they were looking at building it or buying it, and they were going to have like an event inside the org itself or inside the building itself to raise more money, as
good
far as I
gimmick.
recall. Exactly. And I don't
I'd
know if
go
it
to
ever
that.
happened or not, but I did get some Facebook communication about it sent to me. So righto. If there will be mixed use with residential as well, I bet the zoning will not
No,
happen. No, they won't.
no,
They
it
won't have
won't. They
people
won't do
living in
that.
the org. No,
No,
and if they
they're
did, they
not
wouldn't have. They wouldn't
landlords.
admit it. No.
So, just something that I thought of, if
Hmm.
they have people in that building, businesses, they have all signed leases.
Yeah,
So those leases would have to expire.
and they are fully leased right now. I've checked that.
Right, that's what you said.
Yeah.
So
So
even if they
every single
wanted to
office
move in,
building. Yeah, and on the bottom floor, like on Front Street, I think it is. There's like because it's six floors in the back, four on the front, because it's on a
wow.
slope. And the bottom floor in the back is housing an antique store and stuff. It's called Antique Alley, and it's like a heritage area for sure. So that's going to be interesting for them to work around. My guess is those will stay, and they'll take the top four floors, basically street
Breaking
level,
news.
is my guess. Yeah.
Breaking news.
Oh my
Perry
goodness.
answered me.
Oh my goodness. Do you
So
want to say it on live?
it's like not the best. Please send me
Okay.
their contact. Okay, I have to tell you. I'm such a bullshitter. Hi, Perry. It's Gabrielle. Another Scientologist I know who hasn't been online as much would like to attend the event. Can you let me know where the event location is, please? He says, please send me their contact info and I will call and invite them and give them the details. Please let them know I will be contacting them. I have the perfect answer for that, and I'll answer it after the live and keep y'all posted.
Sounds good. It's going to be an ongoing saga. Maybe he's
I
watching right
hope
now.
so. Yeah.
I actually, his Facebook is wide open too. So maybe I should
Is it?
send him a link. Just kidding.
Jesus
Hey,
Christ.
Perry, you want to come join us? Uh,
Oh, God.
all right. Here we got another question here
Yeah.
for both of us.
Who left
Who left
first?
first?
I think you did.
Yeah, 2010. In year
I hung in
2012.
there. No. Um, I left staff 2013 and officially left in 2014 when I said sayonara.
Oh no, I'm 2012. That's what I was
You're
thinking. Because
2012.
I was,
Right.
yeah, that's right. It was about a year after Andrew and I had kind of gotten together. 2012. Yeah, 2012.
I remember you talking to me about a girlfriend. You know that? I
Yeah,
remember having that conversation. Yeah. So that must have been Andrea.
could be. Yeah, I
Hmm.
had lots of ladies. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, fun story, and Andrea was fine with me telling this. But when we were first dating, I was, with her knowledge, dating other women because she wasn't quite ready to date because she was
Commit.
out of a relationship.
Hmm.
And I would actually have, like, it used to be back then, it was internet dating, like Plenty of Fish or whatever. Um, I would have them pick me up for a date on occasion, or meet me outside of her building where she lived downtown, and
Oh
we'd
my
go on
God.
a date, and then I'd head back to her place and I'd dish on how the date went. It was quite funny. And but
And she
secretly,
knew. She knew you were doing this?
oh yeah, of course, because she wouldn't
Jeff.
date me at the time.
Right.
She wanted more time.
I
It's a
don't
funny
recall
thing.
you having a serious relationship before, like
No,
when you were in. Uh-oh.
here we go. Because
Oh,
we were
there you
just
go.
friends.
Just friends. You were in the friend zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
No,
never
I
had a
didn't have a
serious.
I so I had a long-term relationship with Kendra.
Ah,
But that's it.
forgot about that.
We were engaged.
Are you serious? Was that before she got on staff?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Holy
yeah.
shit. How come I didn't see that on her life history?
She might have been embarrassed, who knows? Um,
Oh God.
yeah,
One
no,
of
I
these
didn't have a
days.
lot of relationships, a lot of casual relationships, I'd say. But that's typical for Scientologists. There's no, like, real major connection a lot of times, you know?
Yeah.
Beautiful British Columbia. I like your name.
Nice name.
Um, did I ever
Ray.
know Dana Ray? No, name doesn't ring a bell.
I did know a Dana though. Different she had a
Dana.
few different names.
Hmm.
Dana Giesbrecht,
Oh, yeah. That's Harlan's ex. No, Huntley's ex.
Huntley.
Yeah.
And then she dated the Paulus guy as well. And then she left
Oh, no.
Scientology and she became a Buddhist.
Much better for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just another northern girl says there was a local news article about the fact that Montreal org wasn't paying their taxes on the building, and the
No,
city
I
was
think that was
knocking at their
Quebec.
door.
It was Quebec, but doesn't
Was it
matter.
Quebec?
Yeah. I
Do you
think it
know?
was,
I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure it was
yeah,
Quebec.
I'm sure they paid. They probably waited till the last minute, but they would have paid.
Yeah.
I bet you anything they sued and negotiated it down. That's what they tend to
Yeah,
do.
I would like to find out. There was that lawsuit for the former employees that weren't getting paid minimum wage. And all the article said was that they got 900, close to $1 million, but it never said, like, that stuff can be appealed. Like, you don't know the outcome of that kind of stuff. I'd
Yeah,
really like
that's
to, was
true.
it that one or am I mixing the two up? Because
Well,
there was one where the,
you're talking
yeah,
about the staff members that sued in Montreal. It
yeah.
was in Montreal, I think.
Was it Montreal? I thought it was Quebec because
Oh,
it was like, wow, an
it could be.
ideal org getting sued. That's something that stuck. It was
Oh,
Montreal that wasn't paying. Okay,
and
good.
yeah,
Thank
Richter
you.
says Montreal.
So then maybe he knows, was it Quebec that the ex-staff in Quebec that actually sued the Quebec org?
Yeah, I think
I
maybe it
wonder.
was.
Anyways,
It's all
that's
so
sort
easy
of
to forget.
yeah, and it's unprecedented. Like there's not like I haven't heard of anything like that anywhere else. And they won.
Yeah, and so I've looked into it for BC, and for BC, it has been within 2 years. So you'd have to
Yeah,
find someone who left and is so upset that they're willing to sue for back pay,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, what's really shitty is that they actually labor laws won't force them to pay the current staff. I don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to open up a very active investigation on that. Like, they'd have to be really interested in helping, right? You'd have to find the
Like
right
somebody,
person. They
yeah,
could do it.
government a government person would have to be interested in investigating that.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to say hello
Okay.
to Awaken. Long
Okay.
time no see. Nice to
Hello.
see you. Here we go. Question.
Hmm.
Um, did you ever
Okay.
see make further contact with the woman you were speaking to outside the Church of Scientology event when you went down east to protest? I forget her name. Maybe
Oh, that was the Sea
Cindy.
Org member, Cindy. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Cindy. No, I have not heard from Cindy. I should reach out though. But she's in the fold. She's gonna give me lip service. I don't know. May not be worth my effort, but I'll reach out. Comment. Oh yeah, so this one I wanted to star because I'm glad it helped. Thank you, Jeff, for that live yesterday, the mental health one.
Mm,
Thank you for sharing the website, and he'll look into it.
awesome.
Yes, it's. I've received some pretty amazing feedback from people
Have you?
who are opening up to people already where they haven't been able to before. So that's why I did the live, just to make it absolutely okay. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And for the
Oh, here
record,
we
you
go.
don't ugly cry, dude. You don't ugly cry. You want to see
You
me
haven't
cry?
seen
I
me
ugly
cry.
cry.
Oh yeah, you wanna have a cry off?
I cry.
Grab your Kleenex. Let's go.
Uh-huh.
So
That's
Richard says, I know an
yes.
ex-staff member from Montreal that was involved in the lawsuit.
Uh-huh.
She told me the org have the staff sign a waiver or something so they avoid paying. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. And if you're able to send that to me, if you have the receipts or can get them, please do. I would love to expose that evidence. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got
Wow.
that one.
That has to sink in. That
Yeah.
really has
So,
to. Yeah, go ahead.
well, just consider it. So let's say you and I and a group of us sue Vancouver. We win, but we're still on staff or whatever, or somehow we're still in the fold. They sign waivers, so that money just gets given right back. Like they don't actually have to pay it out, I guess. Like it's
Something.
tricky.
So they weren't okay. Let's read this Can you bring that comment up again? Okay. I know an ex-staff member from Montreal that was involved in the lawsuit. So what I don't understand just in that sentence alone is staff members, you're not allowed to sue Scientology. So then the person must have been an ex-staff member at the
Yeah,
time that they sued, right? She
yeah.
told me the org have the staff to sign a waiver or something so they avoid paying. So that's
Well,
what they do with the current staff.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they don't, even if they were to sue later, they wouldn't have to pay it, right? Like
But
because they've signed a waiver.
I didn't think you're allowed to sign that right away.
You can't in BC, I know that. I don't know about Canada overall, and I don't know about Quebec. Quebec has funny laws.
Yeah,
They're a weird
yeah.
bunch over there.
Those Frenchies, I
I'm
tell you.
I'm just I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Hey, Richard, reach out to me and let me know more about that if you'd like to. I'd love to hear more.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's worth
Gabe, I
digging
have one more
into.
comment,
Oh,
but I wanted to ask you if you had anything else you wanted to say before we end off with this comment.
Oh, that's just like when you end off a session. It's so
Gabe,
triggering,
is
Jeff.
there anything else you care to say before we end this live?
Honestly.
No, what was the exact saying? Is there
Is there
anything
anything you
care to
what the
say?
hell? Say or ask before we end the session. Isn't that
I
what it
think that's
was?
right, yeah. Something
Something
like
like
that,
that.
yeah.
It
Basically
was like
asking if you have an origination.
after every session. It's like, no,
Yeah.
when you're in like a sec check for like 3 hours and they ask you this question, you just want to throw the cans at their head. It's like, no, I just want to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanna get the hell out of here. That's what I wanna say.
Exactly. And
I've
I
been
have
here
to
for 4
poo
fucking
really.
hours.
Hey, I've had sec check sessions that long, 6 hours
Oh,
before.
yeah. I
Horrendous.
remember oh my goodness, I was on one, and it was my tailor-made HCO confessional,
Oh, lucky guy.
and they I think Scott Iverson, we were in there for about 5 hours.
Mhm.
We went in just after post start, I think, so, like, 6:15, and I think we got out at, like, 11. It was insane. I was
Yeah.
so tired, so beaten
It's
down.
exhausting.
Yeah. Ugh, I hate
Yeah,
it.
it's like marathon, and all you're doing is thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. It's just a horrible, horrible feeling. Um, there is something very damaging when you are made to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you're going to learn
Yep.
all about this kind of stuff, aren't you? Maybe, but I do know that there's like the just auditing, especially like the objectives, are hypnotic. I think Kelly. I have
Yeah.
to look at Kelly. Kelly Copter did a live today about how bad damaging auditing is, and it gets worse as you get up the OT levels of how dangerous and how people actually go nuts,
Yeah.
especially around OT3. I knew quite a few people who had to be put on a certain type of watch so they wouldn't unalive themselves
Yeah.
after OT3.
Yeah.
Gross.
I did the objectives, or was it the survival rundown now or something?
Yeah,
No,
it's
what is
called a
what's it
survival
called?
rundown.
Survival? When I was 15. The only saving grace for that was I had my auditor was Linda Minicini, and she smelled so good. She had this I was, 15-year-old. She was probably 30. She had a kid already, so and I think her kid was around my age or so.
Mhm.
But man,
Younger a bit.
she was so pretty. She was, like, really pretty blonde, and she smelled so good, and I remember really wanting to go in session.
I'm
But then,
sure.
like, starting it, but then, like, through it, I'm like, "Oh, I just want this to end, because 'Cause it'd be, like, 3 hours of just repetitively being told to do something over and
Yeah.
over and over again.
I would fall
Yeah.
asleep. They call it going Anatin. I would
Yep,
just
me
like
too.
literally doze off. You would go into such a almost unconsciousness or a hypnotic trance. She smells so good.
There's the quote of the day, "She smells so good." She had, like, a vanilla, kinda perfume. It was very light, but, like,
Yeah,
yeah, for some reason, vanilla was right for me, I don't know, but
yeah.
anyway,
I
I
know a
was
woman from
15.
Montreal that unalived herself on the OT levels. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he told me that story.
awful.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Alright,
so
let's
that's
end
it,
off
eh?
on a good note. Yep.
With a hand to
So we'll do again.
LRH.
Oh, fuck. Bye. We're unfriended now.
Thanks,
No,
everyone.
I wanted to end with this comment here.
Okay.
One Love 1000 says, "Comment, I really enjoy you 2 together.
Aw,
Your friendship is apparent. And Gabe, I love you,
I
and you
love
know
you
that
too,
I will
Jeffy.
always I will always be there for you, no matter
Don't make me
what.
cry.
Unless you start giving hands to LRH at the end of every single one of my lives, in which case I'll dump you like a bad habit.
That was
All right,
funny.
let's end
Sorry.
this hangout for a little bit. We'll chat after. But thanks
Okay.
to everyone who joined us for this fun chat. As more information about the Vancouver org becomes available, I will 100% share it with you. Hello to the replay crew. If you want to support our channels, there's links. Click them, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We'll chat soon. Bye.
Bye.